Welcome to the City of Douglas Mayor's Junior Council meeting. This will serve as our regular meeting for the month of October 18, 2022. This meeting will now come to order. And now we will have invocation and motivations by Ms. Tammy Sellers, CCA Vice Principal.
Good evening. Thank you guys so much for inviting me to speak tonight. A little motivation and our conversation to get things started. I wanted to share a little bit from the book of Nehemiah. In the book of Nehemiah, I would say this is one of the best examples of leadership you can find. So I want to challenge you from a word and an example from Nehemiah tonight. Back in biblical times, cities didn't have the things that we have. They were protected by walls. That's how they were fortified. Giant walls. And during a period of time, the wall in Jerusalem was broken down. Nehemiah lived somewhere else, but he was brokenhearted that the wall around his city had fallen. So he asked permission to go to Jerusalem to rebuild the wall because he knew that city could not be rebuilt unless the wall had been fortified to protect it around it. So Nehemiah was determined to go rebuild the wall, but once he got there, and this is where I want to talk to you guys, he had opposition on every hand. People told him, "You can't do this. I'm going to fight you. You cannot rebuild this wall," because you know why? They did not want that city to grow. You will have people in your life that do not want you to be better. They will try to bring you down. You will have friends that will try to influence you into doing something you should not. But do you know what Nehemiah's response was every time somebody came to him? Every time he said, "I am doing a great work and I cannot come down." He would be up on a ladder putting a brick up on the wall. He would take another brick, and there was a guy that came from another country, and he said, "My king said, we're going to fight you. You need to come meet with him. We're coming tomorrow to come get you." And do you know what Nehemiah said? "I'm doing a great work, and I cannot come down." And everybody that was working with him, he said, "You keep working with one hand and get a sword in the other. We will keep working." So he charged the people around him, stay focused on your mission. Mayor, I can't tell you what joy this brings me to see what you are imparting into these young kids. That you're showing them how to run a meeting, what this looks like to be professional. You're doing a great work, and you can't come down. So to you guys, when you leave here tonight and you go back to your school, you represent the city of Douglas with what you're doing. You're doing a great work, and you can't come down. Don't let anybody influence you. Don't let anybody tell you differently. You stay focused on the job, because you know what? Nehemiah stayed focused. He did not get distracted, no matter who came, no matter what they said. And he rebuilt the entire wall in 52 days. 52 days, and he was finished with his mission. Because he stuck by one rule: I am doing a good work, and I cannot come down. So that's what I would admonish you tonight. Stay focused on your mission and what you're doing here. Represent the city of Douglas well. You're doing a great work, and you can't come down. Let's pray. Father, we thank you so much for your word that always leads us, that always guides us, that always gives us the words that we need in the season that we're in to help us move forward. And so, Lord, I just pray right now for our mayor. I pray for the students that are representing here tonight, that you would keep this word in their spirit and in their hearts, that they are doing a great work and they cannot come down. They can't stop. Lord, we're thankful for you. We're thankful for your grace, for your mercy. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And now we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and place the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we will have the approval of the order of the agenda. May I get approval?
I approve this agenda.
It's been a second.
Motion and then second.
It's been motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. And now we'll have a motion to approve the minutes.
I motion to approve the minutes. I second that.
It's been motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. And now we'll have the recognition of the Mayor's Youth Council spotlight. Don't need to go to. The City of Douglas Mayor's Youth Council acknowledged Kieran Reddy given this 18th day of October 22nd by the Mayor's Youth Council. The City of Douglas Mayor's Youth Council recognized you for your service as a Junior City Clerk Commissioner for the City of Douglas during the 2022-2023 term. You have been an exemplary team player and a model for your fellow commissioners. We appreciate all that you have done to represent our great city and the youth of our community. We wish you well in your future endeavors.
For one of my community spotlights, I chose Miss Angie Osteen. I chose Miss Angie because she goes over and beyond for not only my school, Citizens Christian Academy, but also so many things around our community. I can't even begin to list the numerous things that she has volunteered her time to better our community for. She has so much dedication to improving our community and also teaching every one of us at CCA how to be a better and productive citizen. At CCA, she volunteers for Leo Club, Key Club, and One Act Play. Miss Angie is one of the most selfless people I know and will help any and everyone out with just about anything. Thank you, Miss Angie, for everything you do, and your work does not go unnoticed, and your dedication does not go unmatched. For my second community spotlight, I chose Greg Lee. He is a coach for the Douglas Stingrays as well as the CCA swim coach. Coach Greg has put in numerous hours of his time into bettering so many swimmers in our community. He is the best coach someone could ask for. He encourages us to do our very best and also to have fun, but also pushes us to be the very best we can be. He has taught us so many lessons through swim. I will forever be grateful to have him as a coach. Thank you, Coach Greg, for everything you do.
Now we will have Commissioner Joanna speak about Teen Court.
Good evening. My name is Joanna Mazariegos. I am the Junior Mayor Commissioner, Pro Tem, sorry. I would like to speak to you about Teen Court. It's a program where we have our youth that participate in court where you go and you have your jurors, you have your attorneys, you have your bailiff, your chief clerk, and all those people, they're youth, and we are trying to educate our youth of the judicial branch, how the court works and everything like that. Because we all know once you're 18, you are supposed to, required by law, you're supposed to go to court and all that stuff. So we would like to educate teenagers about it, and not only that, but also teens that want to be like an attorney in their near future. They want to study that so they can get experience and learn about it. We have this program, and it's very, very helpful, very beneficial for me, especially since I've wanted to be an attorney, but that changed my perspective once I entered teen court, when I actually worked as an attorney. And I learned a lot, that it requires a lot of patience, it requires a lot of your time, especially in getting to know, socializing with people, getting to talk to your clients. And once I seen all that, I seen how much hard work you have to put into it. It made me like realize, like it made me rethink everything. It was like, is this something I really want to do? Is this something that I think I'm capable of doing? And with everything else that I have, with all the schedule and the clubs and everything I have going on, I realized like this is not something that I think I'll be capable of, since it brings out a lot. But I'm not trying to like discourage y'all from doing it, but it's just something that I saw that it wasn't for me, but I still enjoy going to teen court because it's something that is very inspiring and something that makes me learn of some of the things that are misdemeanors, some of the small things that our youth does, and it just makes you rethink everything. It was just like, this is something this small, like a fight, just a small fight in school can cause a big conflict. It can make you like go to court and just makes you pay like all this stuff, all these consequences. And so this is a great opportunity for our youth to come out and just like participate, just to see how everything works out, and something that just very beneficial for them. And this will be held, our next teen court we have is November 5th at 9 o'clock. It's a Saturday. We do our teen courts every first Saturday of every month. And so our next month is November 5th at 9 at the Law Enforcement Center near the Fun Place around Premium Waters, around there. So I would encourage everybody else to come out and join us.
It's an actual court that we get our cases from the Department of Justice, and the defendants could have committed a misdemeanor. It's not like a fun play court, it's a real court.
Something that I forgot to mention, thank you, Mayor, for reminding me. This is actual cases. These are not, what are they called? They're not mock trials. These are actual cases that we get from the Department of Judicial. They come and they like we have school fights, we have things that happen outside of school, but they're misdemeanors. And this is an opportunity for those kids that committed these misdemeanors to get a second chance. So they won't actually go to the actual court where they're actually gonna be like serving like into, go to juvie and stuff like that. But it's more like a second opportunity so they can see it as a warning. Like, this is a warning, and we want you to reflect on what you did wrong. Like, this is just small punishments, but they still have an impact on them, and it's just a way so they'll be reminded. But thank you.
And now we will have Mr. Mike Bazell speak with Fly Girls and AIM District 101.
All right, good evening, Junior Mayor and Commissioners. It's good to stand in front of y'all today. I interviewed most of y'all, so it's good seeing y'all in this position this evening. I don't have really no new events coming up or upcoming events for AIM, but I do want to let everyone know that we still meet first Tuesday and last Tuesday of every month. And for the ones that's new on the board that don't know about the mentoring program, Ambitious Young Men, it's a mentoring program for young men ages 7 to 18, where we try to introduce life skills, we mentor and do different types of community service within the community. So you know any friends, any young men that want to be involved or need to be involved, contact me or let them know about the program as well. It's here at the Teen Center in the same spot we're at tonight at 6 p.m. first Tuesday, last Tuesday every month. The last thing I do want to say is that this quote that's on the agenda, believe in yourself, learn, and never stop wanting to build a better world. And I think that's important. A lot of y'all mentioned that during your interview that you want to do something with your community. So if y'all ever have an idea or a vision, don't hesitate to ask me. I'm willing to help in any way that I can, but this is y'all opportunity to step out and actually do something within y'all community. Y'all are leaders, young leaders at that. You have a voice and y'all can actually make a difference, so don't take this lightly, all right? Y'all have any questions for me? All right, thank y'all.
And next on the agenda, we'll have Ms. Tammy Wilkerson speak about hiring tips.
Good evening. Junior Mayor and Commissioner, good evening to you all. Thank y'all for this opportunity. Today I just want to discuss with you all are getting of age now where you'll be looking for jobs at some point or another if you hadn't already. And as you know, the city of Douglas, we start hiring at the age of 16. So occasionally, and it's normally seasonal for 16-year-olds, but we do hire 16-year-olds. So if you're ever interested, just keep a lookout for what we have. And I just want to share with you the importance of job applications and recruitment processing. And just the importance of it. The whole idea for application, first of all, you're trying to sell yourself to the employer. So like I say, you want to tell things that are truthful about yourself, and you don't want to put out things that you're not capable of living up to. But like I say, that's your story if you're looking for a job. So during the application process, it's important because a lot of time on application, there's a lot of history there as far as your employment, where you worked before, if you've never worked before, if you're just getting started. Your educational piece, and with you all, it's just great to be involved right now because these tools that y'all have now, you can put those tools that you've been doing something in the community. You're junior mayor and commissioner, so that stuff, things like that look good on application, just depending on what jobs you looking for, you're trying to achieve or whatever accomplish. Like I say, whenever employers are conducting interviews, and I'm having to refer back because I'm trying not to leave out anything. So you just want to make sure, like I say, you are giving us good information. And a lot of times, the main, I'm gonna share with you 10 tips whenever you're doing a job application. Like I said, first of all, that leads up to a productive meeting whenever you do, your job application is selected as being a qualified candidate for the job. What you write on that application is very important. And a lot of employers now are going to where they're doing applicant tracking applications. So when you're doing that online, and a lot of times they're looking for keywords in there. So that's why it's very important, first of all, that you read the application, that whenever you applying for the job, make sure you read the application first. Look and see what they're asking for. That's the main thing. Number one, read over the application, because you'll be surprised. A lot of times you're taking for granted that that's what people do. But I can tell you, as a person that look at applications all the time, some people do not read the applications. So just make sure you read over them. Another thing, whenever you're doing your application, make sure you're using professional names and email addresses. You know, you just want to look, a lot of times, you know, if you got Bookie.com and you just want, for an example, you just want to use a professional email address. And then, again, this goes all back into reading the application. You want to make sure you follow the instructions on the application. I cannot tell you the number of times that things as simple as people completing addresses, you'll just be amazed, or either phone numbers. Now, if you're looking for a job and we ask you on this application for your phone number, you don't put a phone number on it, how can we contact you if you know, not giving us the sources to contact you? So make sure you do that. And a lot of times people they'll do a cover letter. When you do a cover letter, make sure you do a tailored cover letter. You may want to look back on the application, first of all, then too, most jobs, they tell you kind of what the job that they're hiring for, what it entails. So you want to look at what they're asking for, and you want to tailor your cover letter. Again, we don't want to put false hope or things that we're not capable of, but we want to, if we have those skills, we want to let the employer know I have those skills. So you want to tailor your cover letter. Now the sixth thing is to check your responses for errors. Again, you know, and I'm saying this, like I said, y'all are young coming up, and I want y'all to have the upper hand and know. Some of you may already know, but for you all that don't, check for errors in it, because a lot of times people, most jobs ask for the basic communication skills, and if you've got errors on there where you haven't, it's like you haven't taken the time, you've just thrown something together, you haven't taken the time to make sure that you know, your wording is correct, you know, and you're just throwing errors there. You may not have, and it's amazing to me, the people that don't even know how to spell what their home address is. And I'm looking like, you know, but this thing's simple as that. And I'm telling you, whenever you're looking at a person that's getting ready to interview, you look at that, and sometimes that may dismiss you because it's like you really haven't taken the time, you know, that you're not really serious about it. And mind you, some people do just fill out an application because, number one, and it's sad to say, a lot of times people who don't want to work and going to the Department of Labor, they just want to say, well, I was looking for a job and they didn't hire me. So a lot of times, you know, people try to make errors because they don't want to be hired. But if you truly want to be, these are just tips, good tips to tell you to look for when you're applying for it. Another thing, whenever you're applying for multiple jobs, first of all, know what job you're applying for. And don't get it confused, because when somebody call you back, and I mean, and it's okay to apply for multiple jobs, but just keep a track of what you apply for, so you would know how to relate to that employee when they call you about their job. You don't want to put out information because then it looks like, you know, you don't really have an interest in that company. I just want a job. But, you know, just show some interest in the job that you're applying for. And another rule of tips that I want to share with you all is when you see a job that you're interested in, visit the website of that company or that employee. Just read over to see what services they provide, you know, and different things like that. Get familiar with the company. That'll go a long way, I promise you, when you sit in the interview. And this is another main kicker for me. Make sure that you tidy up your social media. Okay? Make sure you tidy that up, because a lot of times, even with you being younger now, see, as you grow older, you'll start getting more mature. And if you forget to go back and visit that website or your social media, page or whatever, and you got all these things showing, you know, the immaturity levels or whatever, that may, you know, not get you a chance to get into an employee, because I'm telling you, employers are checking the social media. I'm one of them. I go to that person's social media page just to see, you know, just to get familiar with them, you know, or would they be a good fit? So make sure you check your social media page, okay? Then you can upload your resumes, because like I said, a lot of companies now, even with us, we have electronic applications where you can go onto our website, which is www.cityofdouglas.ga.gov. And so you can apply online, you can set up a profile, you can apply online, and once you submit it, I'll get it, and we'll put it in the file until we get ready to schedule interviews. So you can actually upload resumes. And then the last thing is, whenever you're doing the application, and even it's also a good rule of thumb, because when I was coming up in school, I was always taught that whenever you're doing an application, make sure you read every line that's on the application, and if it's a question that does not apply to you, then just put NA. That lets the person know, okay, they read it. And then it makes sure that you've looked at everything that's on there. So just, like I say, follow the instructions and just review your applications, like I say, for grammatical errors and different things before you submit it. Like I say, just if looking for a job, then give the people your best. Because when you write it on paper, if you're giving your best, it's going to reflect on that paper. You know, and like I said, and especially when you got people that's experienced with it and different things, you want them, if you want to sell yourself, like I said, you don't want to sell them things that you're not capable of doing, but you do want to say, look, I am the person for this job, and it will be reflected on your application. Do anybody have any questions for me?
I do.
Okay.
As an employer, what would you think the most difficult part of the application process is?
As far as the application, well, and like you say, for most, and this is a thing a lot of people don't understand. A lot of times you're looking for the most qualified applicant. And let me say too, and like I said, this is our way of looking at it. And it sometimes don't necessarily mean that, because people can sell this stuff on paper, but in person, it's a totally different person. You hire somebody, you look back at the application and say, is this the person that, was on this paper? So, one of the things is, a lot of times as employers, we do look for people who meet the skill set that we're asking for. So we are looking for people that meets the qualification. So as far as what is the most
difficult
part of the application, and sometimes it is knowing that, like I said, because not everybody, you can have some people who on paper they don't look qualified, and that may be your most qualified person. So you can't always just go strictly by that. That's a good source, that you look for. But like I say, we don't hire a whole lot that on the paper look really good, but then they're not as good as they look on paper. So, it's just, for us, it's just sort of not to see who that most qualified person is.
I have a question.
Okay.
What level of professionalism should you write with when putting in like an application?
What level of, like I said, most of the time, as far as, you can get really technical if you want to, but a lot of times on application, it kind of asks for like basic communication skills. First of all, it's just as simple as answering the question. If you have a question that says, there may be some questions on the application, it's just yes, no. So just put yes or no. But if it asks you to kind of elaborate a little bit or say something, then, you make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? And you can even get people who some of your teachers or whatever, have them to look at your applications, to kind of help you out or whatever. But just some good basic communication skills and just following simple instructions is all, because you will be surprised at the people that don't. So, you know, you just don't be in that number. Yeah. So, yes, sir?
So would you say that employers are looking more for education or experience when they're looking at someone's application?
That's a good question, because it can go hand in hand, and it just depends really on the employer per se, because to me, personally for me, experience speaks in volumes to me, because a lot of times whenever, and experience has to start somewhere. You got people that start that's not gonna have the experience. So a lot of times people may get overlooked because they don't have the experience and they haven't been given the opportunity to you know. So it just depends on the employee. Some of them look at, and it do look good to have the educational piece of it. But it also, to me, experience goes a long way, because somebody, you know, some people got to start somewhere. Because like I said, if you just always overlooking, and like I said, again, it just depends on the job, I guess, or whatever the employer, but you have to start somewhere. And a lot of times if people, because they don't have the educational piece or whatever, it just depends really on what the job is or whatever. But if you got the experience, to me, that's just important. Just as important to me. So it just depends, because there are some things with a lot of our jobs, whenever we post the educational piece, if you would notice, it always says it's recommended that you have this education. Whenever it says that, it don't mean you necessarily have to have it. So, and then some of them just get off on the fact that you got the, you know, you got to have this educational piece. But then, you know, sometimes we just put because sometimes experience do go farther than the educational piece. And, you know, you have to start somewhere. So it just depends. Honestly, that's how I feel about it. Anybody else?
I wanted to ask, what would make our application stand out? Like, what is something that you think would make our application stand out more to us?
Again, it depends on, because like I said, we have several jobs. So whatever your skill set is, if you have skill sets that meet that, whatever we're looking for, that of course would stand out. That's just like, for instance, if we have a person that say we're advertising for a police officer. Well, if we have somebody that has had experience as being a police officer, then quite naturally, we're gonna look at them first. You know, if they already got the certification, you know, and different things like that, and they've, you know, and they've got a good record of being a good police officer, whatever, then, you know, of course, we kind of lean to, you know, we'll lean to that first. But then, just like I said with you all, and I will say, honestly, even with me, I just admire each and every one of y'all for doing what you do. I wish I had been more involved when I was in school. But when I was in school, I was more focused on getting out of school. So a lot of things I did take the opportunity to do. And see, with you all having this on this will look really good. And they'd be like, okay, you know, they've got some, depending on what job you're getting, if it's a job in government or whatever, that will go a long way, because you will have that on your resume, that, you know, you was part of the youth council. And they'd be like, okay, they're familiar with it. So you want to get people that's experienced or had some hands in it. Does that mean that you're gonna come knowing everything? No, it does not. Because there's always room for growth and you know, and learning. But it do, you know, it's, you know, it do strike your attention when you see people who do have the experience. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Okay. All right, anybody else have anything for me? Okay, thank you for your attention and your time.
I'll make a couple comments under this, the job application. Let me say this right here. Experience is great. It's great. But guess what? You can't be a police officer without the proper documentation. You cannot be an educator. You cannot be a doctor. You cannot be an attorney. So when we start looking at education and experience, I agree education has an enormous impact. But, however, in our society, the more you learn, the more you earn. It's just the bottom line. So you may run across someone that's a non-high school grad that may have a GED, that may make $100,000, but that's not the norm. That's an exception to the rule. We know for a fact that the higher education you have, the more money you're going to make. It's just a proven fact. So when we start looking at that balance of education and experience, what you have to decide is, what do you want to do? We were looking for a police chief a couple years ago. I had numerous individuals. Oh, I've been in law enforcement for 20 years. I got a stack of certificates this high. The job description says, at a minimum, you must have a bachelor's degree. It didn't say that you had to have 500 daggum certificates and 400 years of experience. In order for you to get that interview, you had to have a bachelor's degree. So that education and that experience is gonna be on what are you trying to do? Because guess what? Everybody wants to be a doctor, but nobody wants to go to school for 12 years and lose all their hair, okay? It's just the bottom line. The next thing is, what I'm gonna talk to you about, is depending on the job that you get, you can be terminated and not even on the clock, okay? Because when you are what we refer to as high dollar earners, do something that you should not do, that is not in line with that organization's morals, values, and beliefs, they probably gonna call you in the office and let you go in the morning. Wouldn't you say that, Miss CCA?
Yes, sir.
Can you be fired right now?
Yes, sir.
You're not at CCA?
That's right.
But do something against that, they'll call you in the office, let you go home. Correct? So once again, when we're looking at jobs and opportunity, and this is one of the things I want you to understand, as you ascend to any position, being successful is lonely. You understand? You have to be able to be lonely. The young men and the one woman I finally started mentoring, a young lady, the first question I asked them, are you prepared to be lonely? Because guess what? If you are a doctor and one of your homeboys want to smoke left-handed cigarettes, blunt or loud, and you get pulled over, they may not do nothing to your homeboy, but it's going to be some people want to know why was a physician in the car with somebody smoking loud. And what if you get a possession charge? What if you're an attorney? What if you're a police officer? What if you're a fireman? All of a sudden, you can't be around everybody. Now, my last thing, and then we'll get back. I just want to interject this. I retired from the Social Security Administration. And when we interview somebody, we normally start them out somewhere around $17 to $18 an hour. And we can get all the way up to $25 and $30 an hour. When you give me your resume, I don't even read it except for your name. And I'm going straight to social media. I'm going to every social media platform I can get. Why? Your social media platform is going to tell me more about you than your resume will ever tell me. And guess what? We weed your tail out. Right then and there. Huh? Had a guy interviewing for $31 an hour. He's standing on a daggone boat with no shirt. He's got a blunt in one hand and a beer in the other one. That's not what the Social Security Administration represents. That's not what it represents. You got in a fight with your wife and the police came to your house. Oh, when you come in there in the morning, we're going to have a little conversation. And I promise you, you're not going to like it. Because when you put yourself in a position that you bust your butt to get to, you're going to find yourself in an organization that has morals, values, and beliefs that are applicable to you when you're not on the clock. Does that make sense? So you can go live all you want to. And I'm going to be right there. Can you believe they put this up there? Oh, you can throw that in the trash. That ain't even going to make it. So you have to be mindful of that. So your social media platform just kept you from making $30 an hour. Just think about that. 23 years old, $30 an hour, your social media platform didn't even get you an interview. So I need you to be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. Because guess what? And like I said to my last council, and I say it all the time, in 10 years, these potholes gonna belong to you. These light bills gonna belong to you. Parks and Recreation, the fire department, the development of our community is gonna be in your hands. So you need to pay attention. Cool? Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to interject that. Let's go.
I had skipped Ms. Danitra, I'm sorry. But we will have Keep Douglas Beautiful report on her.
Okay. Good afternoon. And again, thank you all for coming and supporting our Mayor's Youth Council. Just have a quick update from the Keep Douglas Beautiful. We had our regular meeting on the 11th, the second Tuesday of this month at 2 o'clock. And our two upcoming main events are, first is the community park cleanup at Jackie Allen Park this Saturday. Yes, it is the 22nd. Okay, my days got mixed. But it's this Saturday, 9:30. It's the park right past the four-way on South Gaskin, the four-way stop. A little past that to your left if you're coming from the school. We're gonna do a beautification project. Keep Douglas Beautiful is established so that we can educate about recycling and just keeping our community beautiful, as well as cleanup, recycling, and of course beautification. So we're going to have an opportunity this Saturday to do both. We're going to do a beautification, and we're going to actually plant some fruit trees on location so that the community and the neighborhood can benefit once they grow and bloom and however. But it's going to be a combined effort. Keep Douglas Beautiful, of course, the Mayor's Youth Council, Teen Court, hopefully Ames and Fly Girls and Boys, but we're still looking for volunteers. We're also encouraging the community that surrounds that park to get involved and invest their time, because they're going to be the ones that benefit from it, as well as the families that's associated with the Jackie Allen Park. We have invited them also to come and participate in the cleanup and beautification of that. Again, that's this Saturday at 9:30 at the Jackie Allen Park. All volunteers are welcome, and you can earn community service hours for participating. The last activity we have is for Saturday, January 21st, and that's going to be from 9 to 11:30. This is the Clear Your Clutter Pickup. As you know, we have poll days where you can go and drop your items, your household goods to the poll yard, and we're working with them to do this event because we're going to have people that normally would have participated and had things to dump there, but they couldn't get there. They couldn't get those items to that place. We have some people that are senior citizens, disabled, but there's an application process. You just go on the City of Douglas website. There's more information. There's applications that you need to submit, because we, the committee, will review all the applications, and the deadline for the applications is November 1st. So anyone who's interested in getting someone to come and actually pick those items up, we can't come inside your home, but if you get them to the curb outside, we'll try to have volunteers based on your approved application. We'll help you dispose of those items. Okay? Any questions regarding Keep Douglas Beautiful? Okay, thank you very much.
Now we will have Ms. Izzy D. Burnham speak about anti-bullying and domestic violence.
For my guest speaker, I chose Izzy Burnham. October is Bullying Prevention Month and Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so she will be discussing bullying prevention as well as how she has seen domestic abuse in households impact the children she deals with. Ms. Burnham is a licensed marriage and family therapist and associate professional counselor. She's been providing mental health services in Coffee County since 2017. She currently works with the school system as a school counselor.
Thank you, Karen. So October is a huge month for awareness, as I'm sure y'all know. There's all kind of things going on in October, but one of them, like Karen said, is domestic violence awareness. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about that and talk a little bit about what I've seen working with children and counseling in the outpatient setting. Domestic violence is a pattern of abusive behavior between partners in a relationship where one partner is trying to gain or maintain power and control over the other partner. 1 in 3 women experience domestic violence, 1 in 4 men experience domestic violence, but the most worrying number is that 1 in 3 children experience violence as a result of that as well. So that's a lot of children. So, in working with children over the last several years, you notice a lot of anxiety, which I know all of you guys may be familiar with, but you see regression in younger children. You may see bedwetting, thumb sucking, things like that. And then in older children, a lot of times they'll turn inward and they won't socialize very much, and they won't really reach out to anybody, and they won't, the self-esteem will be very low, self-worth is very low. And really, at an older age, I see a lot of kids blaming themselves for the abuse and blaming themselves for what's going on between their parents. So dealing with a lot of trauma in that area, but the main thing that's so important is safety. That's a #1 priority, is keeping those children safe and having those resources available for people who are experiencing domestic violence in their relationships. So the main thing in therapy is teaching healthy boundaries, maintaining healthy boundaries, and for adults, modeling healthy boundaries for those kids. And then also a trusted adult is key. Otherwise, sometimes you may not know things are going on when they really are. So that's a little bit on domestic violence awareness. Does anybody have any questions before I move on?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So do you talk to the kids that go through the domestic violence?
Yeah, so I'm a therapist, so I've worked in the outpatient setting for several years, and now I'm with the school system, so yeah, I do.
So what would you say the most difficult part is to get the kids to open up to you about the violence in their house?
Well, with younger children, I would say that it's that they can't really talk about abstract concepts like fear. And I mean, like me and you can talk about fear and what we're scared of, but with a little kid, you really don't understand at a young age what fear is. And so a lot of times it's working with those kids through play to process what their body has experienced that their mouth cannot talk about. Does that make sense? And with older kids, it's building that connection. Like, I know y'all are kind of at that age, and you may not trust me to be like, hey girl, what's going on at home? You know, you'd be like, I don't know you, first of all. Get out my business. Like, you know, so you've got to build that rapport. And, you know, and that looks different for everybody. I mean, me and her may start talking about something off the wall. Like, I don't even know, because I don't even know you, girl. But me and you might talk about basketball, and we may spend a lot of time talking about basketball before one day you're just like, you know, some crap's going down at home. And I'm like, let's talk about it. And because me and you have that relationship and we've already met and you know me, you have that trusted adult. And that's why I said that. Like, the trusted adult is key. Does that kind of answer your question? Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. Do you have like any ways of knowing that something's going on at home with a child?
Like without someone saying anything?
Like without them telling you or something? Like you could just kind of tell?
So with younger children, I would say that the regression, and not everybody, obviously there are different cases for everything, but if I'm seeing a kid who was fully potty trained, an 8 or 9 year old, I mean, you're not normally bedwetting at that age. There may be medical problems, so you can't jump to conclusions, obviously, but when you see that regression in behavior like that going back to like 2, 3 years old when you're in 2nd, 3rd grade, you know what I mean? So seeing that, it would make me wonder a little bit. And then I would start asking and building that relationship, like I said, so that you could feel comfortable saying, well, you know what, there's some stuff going on. Is it okay that so-and-so hit so-and-so, you know? And that would kind of, so that behavior in younger children, and then with the older children, that turning inward, it would just make me wonder. It would make me curious, but it wouldn't make me like pick up the phone and say, so-and-so, this is happening, da, da, da. It would make me curious enough to want to build a relationship so that maybe we could talk about that. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Any other questions before I move on? Any questions? Okay. So October is also National Bullying Prevention Month. So we've been talking about bullying a lot in the school system this month, but 1 in 5 children have reported experiencing bullying as a child. And so bullying, just to kind of give you all a definition, I know we talk about it, but bullying is when someone is being mean or aggressive on purpose, knowing that it is causing hurt to the other person over and over and over. Okay? So bullying hugely impacts learning. Children cannot learn and focus in the same way when they're experiencing bullying at school or wherever it may be, because with social media and stuff, it could be going on anywhere. But it truly causes a concern for safety and well-being for kids. And the most powerful thing are going to be those bystander allies, those people that are right there that could intervene or say something. That's the most powerful thing when it comes to bullying, being one of those powerful allies for someone who is being bullied. So with bullying, kindness, acceptance, inclusion, those are the most important things when treating someone who's been bullied or who's been feeling unsafe for whatever reason. So one thing I wanted to share with you guys, and I don't mean to be long-winded if I am being, but is by Brene Brown, and some of you may have seen it or you may have never heard of this, and this is just crazy sounding, but so Brene Brown talks about candle blower outers. Has anybody heard of this? A candle blower outer? No? Okay, so she talks about it, how we all have this flame, this light, this spirit, like that kind of represents who we are, right? And you want to surround yourself with people who, when they see your light, they're like, I love your light. That is beautiful. It means so much for me to see your light. You want people to love your light, right? And think that how it looks so beautiful. And you want to be the kind of person who, when you see someone else's light, you're like, man, that's a powerful light, right? You don't want to be surrounding yourself with people who only want to blow your candle out. Does that make sense? And you don't want to be the kind of person who blows people's candles out. We want to empower people and support people, and we don't want to be candle blower outers. Does that make sense? Okay, so I wanted to leave y'all with that. tomorrow is actually Unity Day against bullying, so if y'all want to wear orange to stand to pledge against bullying, that would be great. Anybody have any questions about bullying prevention? No?
I have a comment.
Sure.
To the mayor's council, as I say a million times, you represent me, okay? One thing about bullying that we all know is it's against the law, okay? Bullying is a crime. So if you see somebody being bullied and you don't feel comfortable getting involved, you shoot me a text. You shoot me a text with that individual's name, and I have the appropriate people to check into it. It's a crime, okay? Bullying is a crime. And if you see it going on, you text me. That's all I need you to do is text me. I'll take it from there. Okay? Thank you.
I got a question.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so back in the day, bullying was in person, but now since we have the internet and social media, it's all on, say, social media, that's where bullying is happening
Yeah.
now. How would you fight that? How would you prevent that? Or
Well, so that could look like, y'all know, like when people's pages aren't private and their posts aren't private and things, and this could be on a larger scale or a smaller scale. It could be that I post a picture and someone's like, what? Did y'all see that picture that Izzy posted? That, like, she looked rough. Like, she should take it down. It's not cute. She thinks it's cute, but it's not. Like, you know people that do, like, y'all all know people that do that, right? And it could just be, you know what? Like, I kind of think that she was feeling good about that picture, and I don't want to talk bad about her. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you have to make a post that says, hey, nobody pick on Izzy today. You know, but it means that you could stop those little interactions, because then it gets back to me and it's like, oh my God, take it down, delete social media, and now you see me turning inward. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to look at anybody in the lunchroom because everybody thinks I look ugly. You know what I mean? It could just be those little things that you could do to interrupt bullying from even turning into a bigger thing. And then maybe, and then it goes back to that flame. Maybe it gets back to that person that you were protecting my flame. You don't even know me. And you were like, you know what? I think she kind of liked it. You know, I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't want to talk bad about her. And so you were keeping my flame from being blown out by people that, you know what I mean? It's just little things to intervene. You don't have to be the superhero of the day, but there are ways to stop bullying from happening. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Thank y'all so much.
Screenshot it and send it to me. Okay?
Okay, now we will have the mayor and council member comments. Uncle Chris.
Before you start the comments, the mayor's going to speak about the 5K.
I was told I was going to speak about the 5K. So, November the 12th, we're going to have our Veterans Victory 5K Run and Walk. That's going to be November the 12th, which is a Saturday. It's going to be out at the Jordan Stadium. That's the course. You can start registering now. The application is online. And if you fail to register online, now if you register online, that's guaranteed you're going to get a shirt. Now, if you show up at 7 o'clock the day of the run, you may or may not get a shirt, okay? And it's going to cost you $5 more. $30 in advance, $35 at that date. So the Veterans Freedom Run is something that's near and dear to my heart. Why? Because I'm a vet. I am a vet, and I like being a vet because vets are cool. So we thought about how do we honor our veterans. Out at the Veterans Park, out at the airport, it needs a little work. So we're going to use some of those funds to bring that back the way it's supposed to be. And this is a collaboration. I think this is the first time this has ever happened. The Mayor's Youth Council, the City of Douglas, Coffee High School, ROTC, American Legion Post 18, American Legion Post 515, and the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the VFW 5976, and our local National Guard are all sponsors. In order for us to enjoy the liberties, and I'm not going to get into a long speech about that, freedom isn't free. And everybody says that, and oh, it's all patriotism and this and that. Well, what we want to do is honor our veterans. There's one commitment, there's one promise that America made to our veterans. If you defend this country, we will take care of you. We will take care of you. And this is a little part to show our veterans that we appreciate them. So if you're on a trike at the high school or CCA or at the college, cross country, swim team, come out and participate. Let's show some love for our veterans. Thank you.
Mayor, I have a question. Is there a way that we can get like flyers or something so I can put it?
Yes, let's email everybody a flyer. Everybody post them tonight on your social media, okay? Everybody post them on your social media because we're gonna do this big. If you're not gonna do it big, then why did you show up? Why did you show up? So hopefully we'll get a lot of participation and we'll make it do what it do. All right, Madam Mayor, I think it's time for the comments and we can get up out of this piece because I'm hungry.
Good evening. My name is Jaylene Debra, and I'd first like to thank everybody for coming to our meeting today. And I'd like to thank Ms. Juanetta and the Mayor and Mr. Nietzsche for everything that y'all do for the Mayor's Youth Council and are doing or going to do for the future. And I'd like to thank Ms. Wilkerson for speaking to us about hiring tips. Going to look forward to like using what you said to us whenever we get ready to use for our future jobs later on in life. And I'd like to thank Ms. Izzy Burnham for speaking to us about anti-bullying and domestic violence. And I'm glad that you you took interest in doing this, for like helping the kids and everybody. And want to remind you to make sure you wear orange tomorrow for Unity Day. And Thursday, we'll have our high school football game up in Savannah. Can't actually remember what we play, and then next Thursday, yeah, we play Jenkins. I think they're the Warriors or something like that. And next Thursday, October 27th, is the National Pink Day. Well, not national, but whenever everybody wear pink. And thank you.
Good evening. I would like to thank every single one of you guys for coming out to support and speak about some of the important things that our community needs to know, what our youth needs to know, and just thank you overall, Mayor, Mr. Nitro, and Ms. Juanetta, every single one of y'all for just supporting us, being here, because it does means a whole lot, not just to me, but I'm sure for every single one of us, for letting us have a voice, letting us speak out, especially Mayor. Thank you so much for letting us be part of this. It helped me be able to, speak out to other people. It makes me every time I come here and I speak about the Mayor's Youth Council, I always try to it's something that I'm proud of being in, because it lets me, when I go out talk to my friends, I'm like, oh yeah, hey, I'm in the Mayor's, I don't do it just to brag, but I just I'm like, hey, I'm in the Mayor's Youth Council, this is what we do, and this is and they find it really interesting. They're always just like, Joanna, you're so big into this, why are you so big into it, why, how did you even find out about it? And it just like made me realize like, wow, a lot of people don't really know about us. So it's something that I can say, and I'm able to spread out the word, just be like, hey, you know, this is what we have going on in the community, the 5K run. I told my parents about it. My parents are excited. My dad especially, he loves running. And like, I told him about it, excuse me. And he was like, oh my gosh, like really, when is this? Like he's been asking nonstop about it. So I'm for sure gonna bring him to come. Thank you. I will make sure he's definitely really excited for it. And then like my family, they really love like, you know, participating, and anything that happens in the community, I tell them, and then they also spread the word. So it's a way of me, like, you know, the Mayor's Youth Council actually does something. You know, we're not just here just to sit here and just like here to look pretty, and you know, we're here to actually spread the voice, like spread our voice, let what happens in our community out, you know, not just for adults, but also to our youth, and they can also have a say in something that they know that something's happening in our community, you know, something's changing, and this is something we could do to help and all that stuff. So I'd like to thank you, and Mayor, thank you so much.
I just want to say thank you, Izzy Burnham, or Aunt Izzy, I call her, for coming and talking to us about bullying and domestic violence, because that's such an important topic. And thank you for talking and giving us updates about your program. And thank you, Ms. Wilkerson, for giving us hiring tips, because I'm approaching that age where I'm going to start applying to jobs and all, and those were very helpful and very useful. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, Mayor, for starting this youth council that I can be a part of and help me learn. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Zania Hunt. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and I also like to thank Ms. Izzy Burnham for speaking about domestic violence and bullying. Both of those were very important topics, but, bullying is it's a very sensitive topic, because somebody that I know, he just committed suicide because he was being bullied. And I feel like people shouldn't have to take their life just because somebody wanted to be mean. So don't be a candle blower outer, and just be nice, because a little bit of niceness it goes a long way. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jared Davis, and I want to thank y'all for coming here and enlightening us, Ms. Wilkerson and Ms. Izzy. And, you know, domestic violence is something that a lot of people don't really realize is a bad thing is happening. It happens all around us, and I just want to thank you for telling us about it. And Ms. Wilkerson, thank you for the tips, because we all need them all the time. And Mr. Tony, thank you for starting this. Mr. Nitra, Ms. Winetta, thank y'all for always putting this together. Thank y'all.
Good evening. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and thank you to the officer who gave the inspirational quote, and thank you, Mrs. Williams, for the tips. One of the tips that stood out to me the most was the social media, because there's a lot of bad things on social media, and most people forget about things like that. And thank you, Mrs. Burnham, for about the domestic violence. Lots of people know about domestic violence, but I don't think many people realize the children that go through it. And I like the candle blower outer example. It made me smile. I liked it. I liked it. Sorry. And thank you to the mayor, and thank you guys. And thank you all for coming out and supporting me.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jeremiah Bazell, and I would like to thank everybody for coming out on today. I would like to thank Ms. Williams Ms. Wilkerson for the hiring tips, and I would like to thank Miss Izzy, for giving us information about domestic violence and bullying, because there's a lot of bullying at our school and domestic violence and stuff like that. And I'd like to thank Miss Donitra and Miss Juanetta and the mayor, of course, for let me be a part of this Mayor's Youth Council. And I also like to thank my dad, Mike Bazell, for the aim and stuff, and the getting out in the community for the young men, and that's all.
Hello, I'm Junior Commissioner Jameson Cummins, and I want to thank all y'all for coming out today, Miss Izzy, Miss Wilkerson. And I want to touch a little bit on the bullying and cyberbullying and bullying in general. A lot of people, when they get caught up for bullying, they say it was just a joke, but you got to know when to stop with jokes. And if you're gonna joke with somebody that you know personally, that you're best friends with or something, because you know when to stop with them or what their limit is. But if you just joke, you could be joking with a person that you don't even know. You just joking with them. They could have had a bad day. That could be their breaking point. They could have killed themselves. You never know what people are going through at home. So I just want to thank y'all for giving us a message. Thank you for the mayor, Ms. Donitra, Ms. Juanetta. Thank you all for attending.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming, and I want to thank Miss Tammy Sellers for the inspirational quote because it was very motivational. And I want to thank Miss Tammy Wilkerson because the hiring tips was very helpful for when I tried to hire for a job. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Junior Commissioner Gabe Jump. I'd like to thank all y'all for coming out tonight. I'd like to thank Ms. Burnham for speaking up about something that we can all do a better job at stopping, which is bullying and domestic violence. And I'd like to thank Ms. Wilkerson for giving us some tips that we can use throughout our whole life, anytime we're trying to get a job or anything. So thank you all.
There being no further business to come before the Junior Commission meeting, may I have a motion to adjourn? I motion this. Second. It's been motion and second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried.